Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a quick tutorial on kind of following up with my video about blending alcohol markers, but this time I'm going to do a red hair color combination and you'll learn how to blend them at the same time. So I'm working on this page in Sweet and Simple Whimsy Girls. This is a really good one for markers just because the pictures are pretty simple and wide and chunky, so you don't have like all these fine details. I am going to use my Ohuhu brush markers. These came from my 120 set. I do not know if all three of these colors are in the smaller sets or not, but right now like the 120 set is pretty darn cheap, so it's not too big of a deal, but you might be able to find them in the smaller sets too. So we are working with R7, which is Old Red, R6, which is Rose Red, and R8, if the camera will focus, which is Geranium. So I'm going to get the lids off these and get them organized. Okay. So I do Hannah Lynn hair with alcohol markers a few different ways. Just depends on my mood, and sometimes I incorporate both of them into that picture. You'll see here I had some bleeding. I'm actually using the paper in the book, which is Create Space paper, so not the best. But let's start with my darkest color, which is the R7 Old Red. And I like to, this is like the flicking one. So now we're on to R8. And then we move over to R6. And blend it out. So that's one way you can do the flicking. The other way I like to do is kind of do a gradient towards the top where the highlight is. So starting with my darkest color again, R7. Moving on to R8. And then grabbing R6. So that's another way to do it. So I just went from dark, medium, light. And I honestly use both in pictures. Sometimes I just stick to one method, but most of the time I do both. So I'll keep coloring a few so you guys can get the feel of it. I'm actually going to turn this to get these luscious curls up top. Alright, so darkest color again, R7. And you don't have to do the flicking motion. You can keep it chunky. You can do whatever works for your comfort zone when it comes to alcohol markers. I really don't think there's ever a right or a wrong way with any sort of blending technique. Alright, R7 again. And for that one, I'm just coloring it all in dark. R7, I'm gonna go up here. Then I'm gonna take my R8 and fill it in. So you don't always use all three, just kind of depends. Right here, I'm gonna go with my darkest color and just fill in that one. Then, okay, R7 again. If you're ever flicking, you kind of, have a heavy pressure at the bottom and just lift it up as you're flicking out. R8. And then R6, which I use to kind of blend them all. And it doesn't show as well on camera as it does in person. We're on R7. I am currently saving for a better camera. I'm not going to use my phone much anymore. I need a high quality camera that actually shows you guys the colors. R8. So pretty soon I will have an upgrade. R6. And it's tricky to learn this on Create Space paper, so I do apologize, but haha, just do that. I don't mind the paper once I got used to it. You can always scan it and print it out on marker paper. And if you're new to blending markers, I would do that. Go get yourself some Spectrum Noir paper or another marker brand paper and scan these and print on that just till you get the feel, because it's easier to blend when it stays wet, and it doesn't necessarily stay wet on the Create Space paper. So I have to move a lot faster than I would like. It's like when one of my kids comes and asks a question, I'm like, hang on, finish my blend. Whereas marker paper, you have a little more time. But yeah, for all these right now, I'm kind of just doing the flicking motion. But do what comes natural to you. If you don't like to do the flicking motion with your markers, we can go to the chunky gradient, which I use a lot too. So watch, I'll do a few in just that chunky method. What's great about it with these books is it doesn't like show a bunch. Like, so it's not like you're gonna totally be able to tell that I just chunked them all together. Does that make sense? I didn't even check to see if my camera was doing that odd zoom in, zoom out thing. So sorry if it is. I have to move so quickly I can't watch myself color. Yeah, this is one of my favorite red combos for hair. All these colors are really close to one another. So this is definitely a beginner-friendly one. I would actually add, if I wasn't doing a beginner-friendly tutorial, I would actually add a fourth color, and it would be a very light color. So a lot lighter than this one, my lightest color. So you would see kind of almost like a pinkish red highlight in there. But I wanted to keep this beginner-friendly, because as you're learning how to do this stuff, it would be really hard to take you from this lightest color here all the way to the pinky red that I normally would use. Once you get comfortable though with your coloring, then totally start adding more colors. And there's so many ways to blend alcohol markers. Like I did in that video I showed you, you can go light to dark, dark to light. You can use the colorless blender if you want. I wouldn't recommend it on this Create Space paper though. So I would use a marker paper if you're gonna do that. But see, I'm kind of swapping between flicking and just doing I call it the chunky monkey style. Now this isn't how I color hair with colored pencils. Except in Hannah Lynn books, I do still keep it somewhat chunky, but not this chunky. But in these books, I don't know, I don't really bother with like the realistic hair. I feel it's more fun and whimsical to just kind of do the fun, chunky style hair. There. See how quick and easy that was? I'm going to put the caps on because I think I've shown you guys plenty. But yeah, I just wanted to do a super quick tutorial that still ended up being like 10 minutes long. But just showing you guys an easy 3-color blend that I really like to use for red hair. and one that's beginner friendly. So like I said, you can do the flicking motion, or you can just kind of create a gradient to where you see the highlight. Like, you know, you could even do dark, medium, light, and without flicking. It's all up to you, and you can mix both techniques on the hair and see, you don't really notice the big difference. As long as you have a highlight popping out, the method doesn't really matter. But either way, I hope this helped you guys find a new blend using your Ohuhu markers and gave you two different styles to work with. Again, this is a beginner friendly tutorial, so if you're more advanced, you might find this like, oh, this is kind of easy. And like I said, more advanced, I would have, you know, 4 colors, maybe even 5 to be honest, up in this hair, going very light on my highlights. But for beginners, these colors are all, let's get it to focus, all really close to one another in the color chart, so they're a lot easier to blend. So just keep that in mind. And then as you get more confident in your blending skills, start skipping colors on your chart and playing with other color families and kind of bringing them all together. But I will finish up this hair off camera and I'll post a picture on Instagram when it's done. But hopefully this helped give you guys a good red color combo using your Ohuhus, and also a jumping point to working on hair and Hannah Lynn books. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.